I was at a Christmas party last night, me and Janet, and we were sitting around a table and we were talking about Chicago because one of the couples were taking their kids up to see Hamilton, which I guess is playing in Chicago. And then somebody mentioned Dailey Park and that they should stop by there with the warm weather and check it out. And I hadn't thought about this memory in years and years, but Dailey, after Mayor Dailey, it made me think of a time back when I was like 18 years old, and my dad worked at the Case Corporation, and he ran the paint line, and that's a line that the parts come down, they paint them, and it's all kinds of parts, it's all kinds of paint, a great volume of paint. And he had these vendors that were trying to get him to okay using their product, because it's that's a lot of money, a lot of paint. And so their names were Ray and Jay, and which coincided with an ad campaign, and I can't remember who the ad was for, but it was like, you can call me Ray and you can call me Jay, and it just went on and on forever, and it was kind of funny, and it was kind of a big commercial, like those commercials that get popular. And we noticed that their names were Ray and Jay, and kind of got a laugh out of it because of the commercial. Well, my dad, they were trying to woo my dad to buy their paint, and they were out of Chicago, and they told my dad that he could come up on a Saturday, bring his wife and kids, and he could play golf on Saturday at the country club, and then we'd go out to eat at this Greek restaurant, and then go to a Chicago Bears game on that Sunday. And I was a huge Bears fan at the time. So it really spoke to me, yeah, I'm going to go. And my dad called me, and I said, yeah, I'm in. And I didn't have any money. I was out on my own at this time, and I didn't need money, but I felt I should have some money in my pocket. And my roommate, a guy named Rex, was really good with his money, and I hit him up for $20. And he said, yeah, up in my dresser drawer, top drawer, grab 20. So I go up there, and he's not only got a stack of 20, he's got like 2 paychecks. And we worked at the same place, yet he managed to squirrel away 2 paychecks and then a wad of money. Now, he played in a band and he got some extra money from that, but to have 2 uncashed paychecks I was just dead broke. It stuck in my mind. So if you're out there, be good with your money. Don't be like me. Another thing at the time, when we moved out, we moved out in like January in '78. Well, it wasn't too long after that we started smoking pot. And I'm not advocating pot smoking in any way, shape, or form, but we smoked a lot of pot, and I became quite a buzzhead, and for 3 years. Again, I'm not advocating the smoking of pot. I don't do it now. I don't have any intention to do it. It's been a long time, so stay off the drugs. But back in that time, it was real popular, illegal, but it was really a big thing here in Davenport, Iowa, in the 70s. So anyway, we head up to Chicago, and I didn't go to the golf course. I don't know where I went. I can't remember, but my dad and my little brother, my brother who was like 8 or 9, he went with my dad. I don't know if my mom and I went to the hotel or what. I don't recall at all. But I do recall that somebody hit a hole-in-one that was in their foursome, and my brother must have been riding in the cart or was waiting with my dad when the people came up or something. But the golfer who hit the hole-in-one was gonna, it's kind of cool to pull the ball out of the pin. You know, you one-shotted it, hole in one. Well, my little brother ran out and pulled the ball out before the guy had a chance. And I think it kind of, I think it's kind of a major golf etiquette faux pas. And I think my dad was a little embarrassed, maybe a little ticked, but it was kind of funny too. So we heard about it. So anyways, we went out that night to this Greek restaurant. And I tell you, I've never experienced a meal like that. It was a 7 or 9 course meal. You know, it had the flaming cheese. Right when you walked in the door, they gave you a shot of ouzo, and this was down in Greek Town in Chicago. And it was an environment. They had a flaming cheese dish, and I used to know the name of it, but it was like the first course or second course. And every time they came out, it was on fire, and the Greeks were all going, "Opa, opa!" And it was just this lively atmosphere, and it was amazing. I mean, I'm surprised that I haven't ever tried to find that place again, because it was terrific. 7 courses, you know, the what is it? Grape leaves and lamb and chicken and flaming cheese, of course, and the ouzo, and we drank and we partied real hard with Ray and Jay. And it got to be about 10 o'clock at night, and my dad and mom grabbed my little brother and they went back to the hotel, and I was going to too, but then Ray and Jay, who were probably 40, said to me, 19-year-old me, looked a lot like that, 19-year-old me, gosh, to have that darker beard again. 19-year-old me, they said, "Hey, do you want to go out with us for a while?" And I was like, "Sure." And which surprises me. I didn't think I had that much moxie to go out with strangers, but I must have had a few beers in me and a few shots of ouzo, and so I did. And we got in their car and we drove into the city, and we ended up at an apartment of some friend of theirs, and it was, here's my Dailey thing. It was right across the street from Mayor Dailey's apartment. So there we were, right across the street. You could see it, you know, right across the street. And he was a big deal back then. They asked me if I wanted to get high, and I was like, yeah. And so we smoked some joints and we drank some wine, and I partied with them till midnight or so, and then they dropped me off at the hotel, and my parents got up to go out to eat that morning, and I guess they tried to wake me up, but it wasn't happening. And so they came back and they got me up, and we basically went to the Bear game. And I rode with Ray and his wife, and my mom and dad and brother, who was like 8, drove with Jay. And we caravanned onto the stadium, and Ray said he had a really good parking spot up close, okay? So he started going towards said parking spot, but Mr. Chicago police officer said, "Hey, you better knock that stuff off and get back there. You go back there where you're supposed to park." And Ray pleaded with him, and the cop said, "No, you know, in that great Chicago accent, get out of here. It's the Bears, you know." Somewhere Brooklyn. But anyway, so the cop turned his back, and Ray thought he could sneak in. So he sped through behind the cop, and the cop stopped him. And here I'm in the back seat observing all this. I don't know these people from Adams off Ox. That's a phrase I learned this year. Anyway. But they came to the door, and they handcuffed him and drug him out of the car. And so I'm sitting there awkwardly with his wife, and I think my dad must have got out of Jay's car, and then we drove and parked properly. And I think they let him out at halftime. I think they kept him in the ticket booth, or the cops had an area for irate or fans that are drunk or not being, you know, well behaved. So anyway, we got in line, and we had coolers with sandwiches and of course booze, and they were checking them. And so we're in a line, and I was the last person in the line, and I'm the youngest person there. And they kept passing the bag back with the booze back, and it got to me, and there I'm to go in, and they didn't check. And so we went in and we watched the Bears game, and I think the Bears won. I don't recall exactly, but that was my experience with Ray and Jay and my dad. And as a backstory, it really felt like I was like kind of cool. I put one over on my old man. I'm not going to get into this too much, but my dad was he was hard to live with for many years. I'm going to tell a brief story to show you the culture. When I was 18, I decided I was going to go out on my own with my roommate Rex, and I went in their bedroom, and Dad was on the bed, his paper in his hand, and Mom was there with her magazine, and I said, "Hey, Dad and Mom, I'm going to move out," and I was 18, and in like 2 weeks, and my mom, I can see her, she's late 40s maybe, and her eyes, she's a beautiful woman, her eyes filled with tears for her Mickey, and my dad, in all seriousness, he wasn't joking, he lowered his paper and said, "Well, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Put the paper back up." And so, like a couple weeks later, I had put all my belongings. My stereo was my main belonging in my car. I had this an Oldsmobile, and so I had a 4-door, and I put all my possessions in that car, and I came out to the garage, and my dad was in the garage. I don't know what he was doing out there, and I'm moving out. This is the day I'm going. We don't say goodbye. We don't say good luck. We don't say anything. There's not a word spoken, and to think back to the Ray and Jay getting high with the vendors in Chicago on his watch, I can't imagine if he had found out. And actually he passed away he passed away like in 2021, and I could have told him about it at that point of our relationship. It got better with time, but anyways, that's my story of Mayor Dailey.